हरे रामा हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन, यशोदानन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन, यशोदानन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन, जमुनातीरा वनचारि, जमुनातीरा वनचारि, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा। Please accept my humble obeisance. All praise should go. So let's do this song today. कृष्ण जिनका नाम है, हरे कृष्ण। कृष्ण जिनका नाम है, गोकुल जिनका धाम है, ऐसे श्री भगवान को बारंबार प्रणाम है। कृष्ण जिनका नाम है, गोकुल जिनका धाम है, ऐसे श्री भगवान को मेरा बारंबार प्रणाम है। यशोदा जिनकी मैया है, नंद जी बापैया है, ऐसे श्री गोपाल को मेरा बारंबार प्रणाम है। यशोदा जिनकी मैया है, नंद जी बापैया है, ऐसे श्री गोपाल को मेरा बारंबार प्रणाम है। राधा जिनकी छाया है, अद्भुत जिनकी माया है, ऐसे श्री घनश्याम को मेरा बारंबार प्रणाम है। राधा जिनकी छाया है, अद्भुत जिनकी माया है, ऐसे श्री घनश्याम को मेरा बारंबार प्रणाम है। लुटा लुटा दधि माखन खायो, ग्वाल बाल संग देनु चरायो, ऐसे लीला धाम को मेरा बारंबार प्रणाम है। लुटा लुटा दधि माखन खायो, ग्वाल बाल संग धेनु चरायो, ऐसे लीला धाम को मेरा बारंबार प्रणाम है। द्रुपद सुता कयो लाज बचायो, ग्राह से गज को फांद छुड़ायो, ऐसे कृपा धाम को मेरा बारंबार प्रणाम है। द्रुपद सुता को लाज बचायो, ग्रह से गज को फांद छुड़ायो, ऐसे कृपा धाम को मेरा बारंबार प्रणाम है। कुरु पांडव को युद्ध मचायो, अर्जुन को उपदेश सुनायो, ऐसे दीनानाथ को मेरा बारंबार प्रणाम है। कुरु पांडव का युद्ध मचायो, अर्जुन को उपदेश सुनायो, ऐसे दीनानाथ को मेरा बारंबार प्रणाम है। कृष्ण जिनका धाम है, कृष्ण जिनका नाम है, गोकुल जिनका धाम है, ऐसे श्री भगवान को मेरा बारंबार प्रणाम है। ऐसे श्री भगवान को मेरा बारंबार प्रणाम है। भज राधा गोविंदा, गोपाला तेरा प्यारा नाम है। भज राधे गोविंदा, गोपाला तेरा प्यारा नाम है। गोपाला तेरा प्यारा नाम है, नंद लाला तेरा प्यारा नाम है। गोपाला तेरा प्यारा नाम है, नंद लाला तेरा प्यारा नाम है। भजो राधे गोविंदा, गोपाला तेरा प्यारा नाम है। भजो राधे गोविंदा, गोपाला तेरा प्यारा नाम है। हरे कृष्णा। थैंक यू प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद, प्रणाम। हरे कृष्ण। हरे कृष्णा संजीव प्रभु जी, आई एम डन।
संदीप प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna. May I start, Mataji?
Yes, yes,
Yes, yes, Prabhu,
please
over
start.
to you.
Okay, okay. Hare Krishna. Just 1 minute. I have to. Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you for the wonderful Kirtan, Mataji. So, start. Sorry, took a bit of time with the screen share. Okay, so we start with Krishna Leela Stava, Bhagavatam prayers by Jiva Goswami, right? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. No, 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 sorry, I'm doing. Sorry, yeah. Hare Krishna. सर्वशास्त्रादिपीयूष सर्ववैदिक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाध्याय सर्वलोके दृक्पद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवत प्रभु कलिद्वंतोदित्यादित्य श्री कृष्ण परिवर्तित. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar churned from the ocean of all Vedic scriptures, O most prominent transcendental fruit of all the Vedas, O you who are enriched with the jewels of all spiritual and philosophical conclusion, O you who grant spiritual vision to all people of the world, O life breath of Vaishnava devotees, O Lord, you are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. You are actually Lord Krishna who has returned among us. Paramananda Pathaya Prema Varshakshadaya Te Sarvada Sarvasivaya Shri Krishnaya Namastate. O Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. By reading you one attains transcendental bliss, for your syllables rain pure love of God upon the reader. You are always to be served by everyone, for you are an incarnation of Lord Krishna. Madeka Bandhu Matsangi Madguru Mahadana Mandishtarka Madbhagya Madananda Namustate. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, O my companion, O my teacher, O my great wealth, O my deliverer, O my good fortune, O my bliss, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. Asadu sadhu tadain atini kuchutakara ana muncha kadachinma premna hitakantayosvara. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O giver of saintliness to unsaintly, O uplifter of the very fallen, please do not ever leave me. Please become manifest upon my heart and my throat, accompanied by pure love of Krishna. नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते सत्यलीलाष्टिकारिति नाम. नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नाम. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वैशाली गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदाङ्कितं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखावतं च. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपति गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो मुदीरये. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay. Now, let's open that chapter. Is this one? Give me a minute. I'm just sharing my screen again. Okay. Hare Krishna. Welcome all again to this wonderful day 2 session of this weekend. on Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you very much for wonderful prayers, Santa Mataji. कृष्ण जिनका नाम है गोकुल जिनका नाम है वो wonderful setting, remembering the Lord and his pastime and the activities, and that's how continuing. Now, as we discussed yesterday, for today, because the chapter is smaller and split into two parts, we will not do the recap this week. Rather, we will do a combined recap next week. Is that correct, Raksha Mataji and Sarat Prabhu? We are okay with
Yes,
that, right?
yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
So,
Prabhuji.
okay, next. So I think we might be left with a lot of time for discussion today. Hopefully that's good. Now, just to reset, if any one of you were not there yesterday, what we were doing is lesson 109, which is chapter 72. Herein it is mentioned slaying of Jarasandha. Right? So who is
Prabhu,
Jarasandha?
your voice is little low, Prabhu. I have put the
Is
maximum
it
volume.
better now? Hare
Ah,
Krishna.
no better, Prabhu. No better.
So why in this I
Sorry,
have to
Prabhu.
keep yeah, please, please. Let's fix it this way. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully it's okay now. Prashant,
Ah,
Prabhu?
better. Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, please let me know because it's some problem with my mic. If I don't keep closer, then it goes up. Okay. So who is Jarasan? I think all of us know, but to rehash, he's one of the staunch Dana or Asur, and he is like a high class non-devotee, right? So that's simple word. That's there. His other like his other what's the word I'm looking for? The other relatives or other identities. Yeah, identity is the word I was looking. His other identity are like he is father-in-law of Kamsa. He um, he was born in a very unique way, and so he had to die in a unique way. But his key identity here is he's a non-devotee. Uh, he worships Lord Shiva for his own personal gain, personal benefit, and despite the fact that Lord Shiva is topmost Vaishnav, he worship and offer sacrifice and prayers to Lord Shiva so that he can fight against other Vaishnavas. So that is the severe problem some of the demonic people have, how they identify the identity of Lord Shiva. Anyway, coming back to this chapter, as we covered yesterday, it was covered in four sections. The first part is Yudhishthira Maharaj, he requesting Lord Krishna to perform Rajaswi sacrifice. Why? Not for his own benefit, but so that Krishna is glorified, as Mataji mentioned rightly, and Prabhupada also explains here that in that Rajaswi sacrifice, the whole universe almost comes, very, very exalted personality are there. And in that, if the emperor of the earth, right, which is Yudhishthira Maharaj, worship Krishna, that would set an example. Like Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, right, whatever the leaders do, the others follow. So if to some extent, I think these days we are bit better state. In India, the leaders do openly try to adopt or follow visit to temple and all that. So, but in that state, if the emperor of the world directly worship Krishna, establishes him as the supreme, then everyone else will tend to follow them, or most of them will at least. Krishna likes this offer. He likes the proposition. Why? Because Krishna always want to praise his devotees and see their fame and glory grow. So he's very happy. He said yes, and he gives them instruction, do the needful. So they do that. That was section 2. Section 3, they conquer everything, but they have a problem, which is Jarasandha. Jarasandha is not conquerable. So Krishna tells them of a plan, which we will discuss a couple of times again, which was given by Uddhav. Again, how Krishna wants to glorify his devotees. So he takes the consultation of Uddhav and they make a plan to subdue Jarasandha. And what was the plan? The plan here is Bhim, Arjun and Krishna going to Jarasandha in a disguise of a Brahmin, and challenging him for a one-to-one duel. And that's what happened. So, in a way, they tricked Jarasandha to choose Bhima as his contender of one-to-one fight, and they avoid all other huge fighting and the bloodshed. And then there is a fight between Bhima and Jarasandha. We discussed yesterday as well. The fight went on for 27 days. In the end, Krishna show a signal to Bhima how to slay Jarasandha, and Bhima followed that, and that's how Jarasandha is like uh, is dead, or he is, that's how Bhima gains victory over Jarasandha. After Jarasandha death, after the conquer or death of Jarasandha, um, Krishna and the Pandav, they made Sahadev, which is son of Jarasandha, the king over there. They released the kings who were prisoners or captives by Jarasandha and kept in a very, very painful situation. There were 20,800 kings, and Mataji just asked the question, what was the intent of Jarasandha in having those kings as a captive? So the intent here was so that he can offer them as a human sacrifice to Lord Shiva, or Mahabhairav group of Shiva. And through that, he wanted to gain all the powers to defeat Pandav and to defeat Krishna. So that was never possible, but as we say, demonic buddhi that takes away or curbs the intelligence, and that's why they do all this nonsense. Then we went through this themes. So, what are the key themes? Divine permission and authority. We understood that there was a divine permission Yudhishthira Maharaj seeks, and affirms to his authority before performing Rajsuya Yajna. Recognition of the Supreme. The whole goal was so that Krishna can be worshipped as supreme. Nature of devotion. Although a lot of difficulties may come, still nature of devotion is blissful. Right? And then impartiality and divine compassion. We had a very wonderful discussion yesterday, and Lalita Premadaji, that was a key takeaway. While I did understand, but the key takeaway is, as Brahman, Lord is impartial, but as Bhagwan, he is definitely partial to his devotees. And how partial he is depends on the consciousness and the efforts we put. Karma and influence. We revised karma, vikarma, and nature of the divine play lila. So the nature is like, there is constant like churning of the essence. Things keep moving, but they give pleasure to the devotees and the Lord, and the Lord tries to achieve multiple things through his acts. Right? So that's where we stopped yesterday. Now we continue with some more themes here. So as Prabhuji says, the whole chapter through the conversations of Bhim, Arjun, Krishna, and Jarasandha gives us lot of wonderful instruction. And this is summary from the acharyas. So let's go through one by one. So first part is the nature of charity. So charity is usually emphasized when we talk about charity in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna gives also very clear view, like what are the three types of charity: the charity in mode of goodness, charity in mode of ignorance, charity in mode of punishment. Sattva, uh, Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic. Right? So there is so never before we can get, or at least I never had that kind of clarity. We would think, okay, giving charity means you'll get some returns, right? Yes, there are, but depending on again what mode you're doing, right? Now the key thing is, at least by giving charity, there is one thing that does happen is you develop certain amount of detachment, because you're parting away with something that one would incorrectly think that becomes mine. Nothing is ours. We know that we are actually spirit soul, which is also part and parcel of the Lord. And this is a body we have so that we can serve the Lord and reestablish the relation. That's a conclusive truth which Srila Prabhupada explains very clearly. However, because we are in this mode, we are so attached to the body and we are so attached to everything around the body. Through this act of charity, we develop some sense of detachment. And the end goal is at some stage we will have that full detachment and understanding practically as well. And we think ourselves and act in the mission of the Lord, as Prabhuji always says. That is the best sense of charity we can think, that we dedicate our whole body, our whole existence to the mission of the Lord, right? So there are good examples given. This particular discussion is between Krishna, Bhima, Arjun, and Jarasandha, how they are glorifying, and they are giving this example of Dashrath. Like Dashrath was a very generous king, and also when it came uh, to Vishwamitra asking him his very young and dear sons Ram and Lakshman, they were given away as well so that they can help Dashrath. Dadichi, he gave his whole body to make a particular a weapon with which Indra can conquer Vritrasu. Again, that's a wonderful pastime in Bhagavatam. So, in essence, the final thing we can do is giving the charity of the whole body, whole existence, whole mind for greater good, for the mission of the Lord. Our acharyas, including Srila Prabhupada, has heavy emphasis that we follow the four regulative principle. We chant and remember the Lord, we read His book, and most importantly, we spend time in giving Krishna consciousness to everyone through this act by trying us to be perfect and then also distributing His books. So, that He always mentioned is the highest form of charity we can do. And if we think deeply, that's correct, right? Because the best benefit you can give to anyone is giving them the realization and engaging them in the service of the Lord. Anything else is short lived, like we may help someone for a meal a day, some money a day, or help them come out of a situation. Not bad, we can do that. But the best thing is we give them this accompaniment or first thing of this real knowledge and engage them in service in very unique and creative way. So that was about charity. The second thing comes challenges of hospitality. So Srila Prabhupada always glorifies this Vedic culture. So he always says, like in this whole scenario, if there is anything to praise within Jarasandha, is upkeep of his Vedic culture. Although I have said many times he is very inclined to be charitable to Brahmanas for personal benefit, but still he is, right? So that upkeep, and then look at the sense of valor or bravery he has. He knows that the people who have come are his staunch enemies. They have come in a disguise of Brahman. Still, he is going ahead and giving the commitment that yes, whatever you ask me, I will give. And then when for so many days all these guys are his guests, throughout the day they will be fighting like enemies, like especially Bhim and Jarasan. But in the evening they are guests and they would dine and have a good time together. So Srila Prabhupada used to praise this Vedic culture a lot, and he has given an example that any guest who come to our house, depending on our own um, ability, capability, we should do the best to treat them. If nothing else, at least give a good and clean seat and offer sweet words. Even if the enemy come to our house, we should not be harsh. That is our Vedic teaching, no matter how intent it is. And that's what I've seen in our elders specifically. That's how they've trained us, that anyone who comes, at least first thing is offer a glass of water. I know my dad and my father-in-law, they used to do, even if some delivery person or other come, they would offer them a glass of water. So we can try and do that. We can try to imbibe. By the way, all caution applies these days. We have to be careful with that. You know who's on the door. But the key point is not to have any malice or enmity against the guests who come to us, right? So that is the responsibility of the host, and dealing with unexpected or daunting guests. And yeah, Srila Prabhupada teaches us, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as well, the characteristic of a true household, right? Which helps us to keep the Vedic culture. Okay, moving ahead, then principle over materiality. Like whenever we have a choice to make a choose between two options or multiple options we get, right? Or we are in a situation where we have to act, and that action either will take us either will make us more like sort of a dilemma or a situation, then our preference as given by the acharyas um, should be dharma, which is like we have discussed. There are several dharma. There is dharma to take care of our people around, of our own body and all that, but there is a paro dharma as well, right? That is the supreme dharma. So the supreme principle is always being engaged in service of the Lord. And why? Because of that, by attaching to that, we will then come over all our attachments and uh, regenerate or relinquish our relation to the Lord. So that's the game. Like whenever we are in a dilemma, the right person, the devotee, or the exemplary acharyas we see, they will always choose or they will make a choice of supreme dharma. Like again, have been hearing a lot about Srila Prabhupada, like when he was in a situation where his family was not supportive. At one point, he told his family, like, and his wife, right, either you take tea or me. And then she jokingly says, okay, then I have to give away my husband. But at some point, he then quit the family so that he can fully dedicate himself in the service and mission of his Guru Maharaj, right? So they always choose uh, the mission of their Guru, the Lord, over to anything else which is of personal convenience to them. Not at all easy, but at least let's have that theoretical understanding. At least never easy for me. Whenever there's a duality, I tend to choose, okay, what's easier for me. But yeah, through the blessings of all the devotees here, maybe someday I will improve. Will keep on improving. Okay, and then recognition of identity. What does this mean? So, uh, what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur here says us is superficial appearance cannot dictate one's true essence. So don't go by superficial appearance, especially in this time of Kali Yuga. People may come up as or may dress as saintly people. They may dress up in orange or other like dhoti, kurta and all that. Although Krishna gives a lot of importance to that also. We were discussing yesterday, right? How Putna goes to Vrindavan just because she's dressed as a gopi and putting all the tilak and everything. Krishna, does not harm her directly. He harms her only when she comes to that attire of a demoness. But then yet he blesses her and gives her the topmost. We've gone through that many times. The point here is uh, all that is seen may not be, all that glitters may or may not be gold, as they say. So do not go by external appearances. Uh, be wise, be thoughtful, take advice where needed, and make the right choice, right? It does not mean that we go and humiliate or insult someone, but if someone is coming up in a disguise and asking things, the most important thing people can ask for us is our time. So be very thoughtful who we give time to. Okay? And we must do our best to give that time to devotees and the mission of the Lord. Right? So herein it is mentioned that also that how coming out as Brahman or disguising themselves as Brahman actually symbolizes their humility. Who for Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna. They are Kshatriya, but they are going out as Brahman to beg in charity the fight, right? So, as a Kshatriya, if like, let's say you put yourself in that state, someone tells you, okay, you have to go in disguise and beg something, still it will hurt. But because Krishna is saying, the Pandavas, they will do anything. So, that's what we see. So that's identity. There are two ways. One, be thoughtful, especially in Kali Yuga. Secondly, for the mission of the Lord, doesn't matter what identity we have to take, we must be ready for it. The value of fame and legacy. Okay. So here, Jarasandha, when he is clearly seeing that it is actually the people who are coming are not Brahmins, but they are Kshatriya, and they are going to ask me something. He thinks that, okay, that's fine because by giving this in charity, at least my fame will go. And he gives reference of Bali Maharaj, how Bali Maharaj was cheated by Krishna in one sense. That's what people would generally think. Of course, that's not the case. Actually, he, in the end, being glorified, right? We know that. But even though he knew that he's going to be cheated, he gave that charity, he gave that commitment. So the promise a Kshatriya gives, he has to keep up. Uh, Through charity comes valor, fame, and that becomes a legacy, we believe. Uh, it's also important to see that how this senior Vaishnava, they are thoughtful in their action as well. Like even when we reach a Charitamrita or when we read Srila Prabhupada's life story or our acharyas, they are very thoughtful of time, place, circumstance, and they will act accordingly. It's not like, they will go randomly and do something. So that's what will give us that uh, right set of fame and legacy. Okay. Then comes courage and identity, we see. We discuss about courage that Bhima has, but prior to that, Krishna is challenging Jarasandha that you can fight with any one of us, Bhim, Arjun, um, or myself. Now, Arjun actually is not the right match in a dual one-to-one combat with Jarasandha because Jarasandha has power of 10,000 elephants, right? Arjun does not, but still he is willing. So that is the courage, right? So what Prabhupada is saying us is through confrontation or sacrifice, right? When we are facing a challenging situation, we do need courage and we need to understand what our identity is and fight against that. That is coming if we are having our correct understanding who we are and the fact that we are never alone. The Lord is always us, protecting us if we are doing the right thing in the right sense, and He will give us required help through the wisdom He gives us through Bhagavatam, through the devotees, the association, and that's how can take us ahead. So we must not be fearful or cowardice, but we should try to increase our courage for executing mission of the Lord. And then what's the nature of such strength and valor we get? The nature of this strength is not physical. Here it is again and again stressed that physical strength is not the ultimate measure of bravery. The real strength is the spiritual strength. And the spiritual strength eclipses physical mind. Time and again, when we read the pastimes of various devotees, we see that, like in Prahlad Maharaj, right? He's such a small 5-year-old boy. What physical strength he might have as compared to Hiranyakashipu or the other demons who are attacking. I think it's almost zero, but we see the spiritual strength which saves him. There's other example as well, like who else come to mind? There's this Gajendra Moksha, right? So it is very clearly said that Gajendra, as an elephant, although he's powerful, but when he's fighting against a crocodile, which is an incompatible situation for him in the water, the crocodile is gaining more and more power and he is losing his physical strength. But in the end, how he won? Through his spiritual power, through his spiritual prayers. So spiritual strength eclipses physical mind. That's the key learning over here. So we must do our best endeavor to increase our spiritual bala. And again, it said also Balram, the bala means power or might. And it's more about the spiritual power. If we have that, then the physical might will follow, or the required physical might will be given to us. The final thing we see here is divine intervention and guidance. We have discussed this couple of times by now that Krishna has a role as a divine strategist and he gives the right set of counsel. He also gives the cues or the signals at the right time. To Bhima, if we see, he gives them so many times, right? In this fight with Jarasandha, he gives the cue. We see that wonderful picture. He's tearing about twig. Bhima sees that and he gets a signal and then he forms that. Also, when Bhimsen will later fight with Duryodhan, right? So Duryodhan is all protected, but Lord will again give him a clue that, strike him at a place below his, like below his the upper half, right? Or on the thighs, strike him over there. Although it's like inappropriate in that youth, but when Krishna gives that signal, Bhima, with his proper intelligence, follows that and he becomes victorious again, Duryodhan. What are the other scenarios we can think of? Like Arjun is fighting a battle with Bhishma. Bhishma is not defeated. Finally, Krishna again gives them the guidance, okay, you should take Shikandi, right? So many ways that Krishna gives signal or spiritual signal to the devotees. We just have to be pure enough to get that signal and act on that, right? So he's always guiding us. Okay. Um, yeah, oh, there is some more. There's some more gems here. The nature of conflict. So here the conflict between Bhim and Duryodhan, while it is looking external, it also signifies, as per Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, it is uh, in a way can be seen as the internal conflict we have as well. What are the internal conflict we have always? There is always this sense to do action for our own gratification versus the action to serve the Lord, right? So that is the battle we, or at least I always have. And if we take shelter, like Bhimsen, if we take shelter of Krishna, we'll be victorious and we will grow in bhakti. We'll cross over the hurdles, all the 9 stages of bhakti we know, right? Shraddha, Sadhusang, Nishtha, at least reach the level of Nishtha, and then someday we'll reach the level of Bhava as well. So that's the internal conflict that's been signified, and how we address that, we take shelter of devotees like Bhimsen and the Pandavas and pray to them to give us that right set of intelligence. Well, and finally, the differentiation between illusion and reality, right? So again, it is an illusion that Jarasandha has that he is the most powerful because of this pride, because of the ego, and because of the enmity against the Lord. He becomes illusion, right? But then finally, again, we just discussed, Lord thrashes that not just once but 18 times, and then finally through Bhim he like finally gets a final defeat, right? So finally, again, in conclusion, the true strength does not come from physical prowess, but understanding our limitation and embracing humility. So that's a very, very important factor. We all have our own limitations. We all have our own weaknesses. We must be cognizant of that. We should do that self introspection and then pray to the Lord that, my dear Lord, yes, I am attached to this. I have this greed. I have this lust. I have this desire. Please, please, please free away from me from this so that I can engage myself more and more in your devotion. Now, here, Prabhuji, you mentioned that Jarasandha was ensnared by a curse. Could not find that, but hopefully, I think in Sharad Prabhu, we are covering that later today. You mentioned this point yesterday, so we'll get to it. So, at this point, Prabhuji, the PPTs are over, but because I knew we will have a lot of time, I just collected some notes, and these are my personal notes, not the PPT. So I will just, with your permission, just walk through them. So these notes are again pulling from all the different Vaishnava acharyas in different sampradaya. What are the points they are highlighting from this chapter? Some of this we already covered, but again, since we are trying, making sure we don't miss anything, I'm just going to that. So here, Sridhar Swami, he writes in Bhavar Deepika, he's from Rudra Sampradaya. By the way, I took that help from AI as well, so all full disclosure. So he highlights the point that in this verse, 1072, not 2, sorry, 72:15, how when it is mentioned, there is Adya Purusha. So Krishna is clearly highlighted as Supreme Personality of Godhead, which goes in theme of Bhagavatam declaration, Krishna to Bhagwan Sri. Right? So we'll just read that translation. When King Yudhishthir heard that Jarasandha remained undefeated, he said to pondering, and then the primeval Lord, primeval means the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari told him the means Uddhava had described for defeating Jarasandha. Right? That's the next part, which is Krishna's plan and Uddhav's counsel. So Krishna seemingly like he knows everything, but then he's Bhaktavatsal. That also we discussed yesterday, that he always wants to help serve the Bhakta and glorify the Bhakta. Right? So he acts on the counsel of his devotee to arrange Jarasandha downfall. Not just that, but he also want to see Yudhishthira and performing the Rajasuya sacrifice and Bhima getting the glory to defeat Jarasandha. So that's from Sridhar Swami commentary. That's a key highlight. Then Sanatan Goswami Brihad Vaishnav Toshmi. Again, this is our most revered Acharya in our Gaudiya Sampradaya. And there are several points he makes. He has written very extensive chapter, it seems, here on this. So he starts with the unusual birth of Jarasandha that we all went through. The key point over here is what he says, his birth foreshadowed the means of his death. That means just as he was put together to gain life, he would be taken apart to lose it. Right? So that was a secret. Krishna was aware of that, and that's how he gave the clue to Bhima, and then Bhima became that's how Bhima took that intelligence, and so we know that. Right? Then the disguised mission and Jarasandha hospitality. So we discuss about that also. They go in a disguise, right? And how Jarasandha, despite of seeing them as enemy, so this is something is being praised and highlighted as positive in Jarasandha. He gives the right hospitality. He's charitable to Brahmins. He received them with the due etiquette, and also he gives Bhimsen. So he's giving his enemy the weapon so that he's killed for the combat. So and he thought initially he underestimated the power of Bhim. He thought he will not be able to carry, but later on he sees that he's able to. And somehow we are so, all of these the past people, they are so they're so, I would say, courageous in a way that they are happy to have a person of a match to fight with. They won't go for a person lower than they're capable to. They want to have an equal match. They want to have a proper combat, not like the day today we are sitting here and someone throws nuclear bomb to innocent people and kids. So that is so disgraceful. Whereas we see in the Vedic culture, this was so graceful, right? That's something we can always respect and appreciate. Yeah, I mean, I think fair combat is the word, right? So they were always looking for fair combat. So more from Sanatan Goswami. The fight here goes for 27 days. There is no conclusion. What does this mean? They both are very equal and they have undiminished stamina. Akshara Javari. But here Sanatan Goswami highlights that the power Bhima gets to defeat is actually through Krishna. That's the next point. So Krishna gives the hint, he gives the cue or a sign. We discuss on that also. And he mentions Krishna as an infallible seer, means uh, Akshar, right? Infallible who never falls down. Actually, he is beyond that, right? He's the supreme and he sees everything and he's always right. So he gives that power to Bhima and he gives him a silent hit to kill them. Kill, how to kill? By picking up the Vitapa and throwing that. So that's also highlighted by Sanatana Goswami. Yeah. And final two parts, I think we discussed that again. Jarasandha demise, how he was killed. So this Krishna only knew that just the way he was born by joining, the same way he has to be killed by spreading apart. Then Also, there is a mention in Mahabharata that earlier during the 17th battle between Krishna Balram and Jarasandha, Bhimsen actually got very angry and he was about to kill Jarasandha. But then there is Akashvani that happens from Brahmaji and it stops Bhima. So it stops Balramji, that you cannot kill him, but it is Bhim who will kill him, or he is to be killed by someone else. So you stop. So that's how Jarasandha is forgiven by that. Now that's coming from Mahabharata. Um, that's over there. So, and finally, after Jarasandha's demise, then the Sarvagya or omniscient Bhagwan, he had no interest in the kingdom, right? So he made son of Jarasandha king. That also shows his, again, generosity, right thought, and also the Lord is Bhagwan. He's possessor of all the opulence. He can create millions of kingdoms. So this is so interesting. Like one of the discussions I remember, it is said that when the jiva comes down from spiritual world, the first birth is of Brahma. So one of Prabhupada disciple question. So there is infinite, we are infinite jiva, then do we all come down as Brahma? So many Brahma Loka Krishna created? And Srila Prabhupada is, yes, of course. Right? He is so clear that Krishna, the power is infinite. He can have and very authoritatively and very convincingly and directly Prabhupada says that we must never have doubt in power of the Lord. That He can create infinite universe and there can be infinite Brahma. And actually we see that in one of the chapters also that will come in next. So, and the Lord is Bhuta Bhavana. He's well-wisher of all the beings and He is a Prabhu, He is master of the all. So then finally He gave that kingdom to Sardev. He made him the new king and all the kings, 20,800 were freed. We discussed why Jarasandha actually made them a captive. And in the next chapter, in the next week, we'll see, I think Nityasaki Mataji, right? She will cover the wonderful prayers these kings will offer to the Lord. They are also very instructive. So that was Sanatan Goswami. Now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, I think probably you have made most of the slides from that. So this will be a repeat, but just will not to miss out anything. So humbling Jarasandha's pride. So we saw how because of false pride, and in chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita, there's so much details given how the demonic mentality is. So he had to come down. So finally he felt, but there is a wonderful explanation by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on the conversation that goes on in his mind when he sees and when he understands that it is Krishna, Bhim, Arjun who have come in disguise of a Brahman. Actually they are Kshatriya. So he says, actually, oh weak ones, why you are bothering to fight? Since you have come begging as Brahman, your warrior prowess has already sunk below the horizon, right? So if you are not lost courage, then I will give you a fight. Otherwise, you can just accept in charity my head. So he becomes so puffed up. He becomes so powerful. He becomes not powerful. He becomes so puffed up and arrogant in his mind, and he thinks of the Lord so incorrectly and his devotees. So that's what happens when we are in that control of those moods. And he thinks of the Lord as foolish, right? He thinks of them as Muda, but here that this is the verse that is highlighted. Chama Asrito Manda, right? He thinks of them as foolish, but Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says very nicely that Mother Saraswati is changing the meaning of that, right? So here it is. I wanted to read that. Yeah. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the goddess of learning Saraswati intended to be read Amrastu Manda, I cannot read that correctly, meaning angry but not foolish. Means they were angry, but they were never foolish. They are very, very far from being dull-witted, and Krishna and his associates, they were extremely shrewd in adapting their disguise and strategy. Their plan to eliminate Jarasandha through deception was the wisest course um, to achieve the greater good. Thus, the Acharya note that the Lord and Pandavas proved not foolish by choosing optimal tactic, the best tactic, that is avoiding and considering to destroy the cruel Jarasandha for once and all. So Prabhupada highlights this again and again that through devotion service, performing, one becomes perfect. We also become intelligence. That spiritual intelligence is given, and through that we can perform the material acts also very intelligently. So many benefits. What else can we? Why else we should have any doubt? Finally, Krishna's restraint. So 17 times he left Jarasandha. Why? By design, right? Because he wanted Bhima to kill him and get the glory, and he wanted to save all that. So that is Krishna's plan to bestow the glory on his devotee. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he also, he glorifies Narad Muni as well, right? So that's the point. Okay, so that was Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Then we continue. Few more acharyas. Again, wonderful. Might be some repetition, but always good to ensure we don't miss anything. So Madhvacharya's teaching. So he clarifies that the Lord never acts in any illusion, right? So he has not given verse by verse commentary on this chapter, but he has given a highlight that his key point is one must never misunderstand Lord's transcendental action to be material or illusory. And in fact, he is the master of this whole, like um, the whole creation is under his control and he's not under the control. But he also highlight, Madhvacharya also highlight, and Krishna also says, Bhavanan Janu Ante Jnanam Prapadat. That of many people, only one would be so fortunate enough. And we are fortunate we have that access to this very very humble and very intelligent soul. So we must take our best to gain and learn from them. And then results of devotion to Shiva versus Vishnu. So we saw that, and we discussed that also, that how Jarasandha, because he's worshipping Lord Shiva in not in a right sense, he does not get the intelligence. See, if we worship Lord Shiva, many of us have seen, we worship, but not with the intent to malice or harm others. Then Lord Shiva himself gives us that intelligence that, go and become Krishna Bhakta. But here, because the intent is Hare Krishna. Any comments? But because here the intent is not correct, then that's why, the result is not correct. So we should not approach any demigod independently of the Lord. Rather, we should directly approach the Lord. That's the best part. If at all we have to, we must have the right understanding that the demigod is also a devotee or assistant or servant of the Lord. And in that capacity, the person will help us. Then I think last two, which is Vallabhacharya's. I think this is the last one, sorry. Vallabhacharya Subodhani. And here what he highlights that the devotion, proper and improper devotion. Again, we covered that Jarasandha is ardent worshipper of Shiva, but that does not save him. Because Jarasandha honored Shiva independent of Srihari. Right? Also, he mentioned that because of Bhrigu Muni's curse, and he gives similar example of Daksha, right? Even Daksha become very proud and he insults Lord Shiva, and then we all know what the result is, right? So he summarizes that only devotion to Bhagwan Sri Krishna exclusively gives us auspicious, and anything else is inauspicious. And Bhakta Vatsalta of Lord Krishna, we discussed this yesterday. Again, Lord is known as Bhakta Vatsal. He always is happy to serve his devotees, protect his devotee. We just have to give that indication, and we should act accordingly. Right? So, how Bhagwan? Oh yeah, there is one more point highlighted, which actually I felt like Vallabhacharya. He reveals in charming attribute of the Lord how this Bhagwan becomes subservient to the love of Bhakta. The Lord of the universe described himself, and he traveled on foot, and he gave hints from sidelines just to ensure that his devotee's mission is successful. Such is Krishna's gracious nature, which Subodhani urges us to appreciate and adore. So that means when they are going as Brahman, that they cannot go in elaborate, very opulent way. They walked all the way, or at least a very long way from whatever Indraprasth to Magadh in a very austere way. And Krishna accepts that just so that the mission of his devotee is successful. So that is the quality of our Lord, who is Bhaktavatsal and always willing to glorify his devotees. So those were my personal notes. Just for this, I will pull that off. They won't be in the PPT. And then here are again another set of questions, just to put together and see. Let's review that to see whether we understood the chapter correctly or not. What specific strategies or tactics did King Yudhishthir brother use to conquer the various king? I think we know that. We went through that very nicely. The strategy here were the four brothers went to four direction and they always followed. The main strategy is they follow the direction of Lord Krishna. How did King Jarasandha become such a powerful ruler, and what were the reason behind his enmity towards Pandava? That was very clear. He became powerful ruler by worshipping Lord Shiva, getting the boons, but they were not correct way. The attitude was not correct, and he was enemical not just to Pandava but all the Vaishnava and Krishna. All the Vaishnava worshippers, they were openly against, and they would antagonize or trouble them a lot through their big march and their whole army. Right? What were the reaction of other kings and the citizens of Magadh when Jarasandha got defeated? They could hardly believe. Some of them were in shock because they might be supporting their king. And then, yeah, we can come back to this in the following class. What specific actions or practices exemplify true devotion in judicial relationship with Krishna? Yeah, so this is right. So we saw that he wanted to perform the whole Rajasuya Yajna just to glorify the Lord. And then he follows exactly the instructions given by the Lord. So that tells us that how devoted he is to the Lord. And his prayers in the first two parts are so amazing. This is for us. How can one effectively balance the pursuit of material desire with cultivation of spiritual growth and devotion? So this is again, as we said, the more we go spiritual, the Lord gives us that intelligence, material and spiritual, and that's how we can balance. In what ways can the principle of karma be applied to everyday decision making to align with the divine will? I think we covered this yesterday as well, that as long as we follow the guidance given by Srila Prabhupada, again, that's may not be easy, but we have to keep on practicing. Remember, that's a destination, not the journey. Some of us may have reached there and doing it very clearly, some of us not, but never feel discouraged. Do your best to be in the right association. Read Srimad Bhagavatam, discuss that, and Lord will give us the required intelligence and the power and the detachment to get there. What specific historical or mythological references do Krishna and Pandavas draw upon to illustrate the nature of charity? We covered that. They mention about the past great figures like Dashrath, Dadichi, and others, and Jarasandha himself also thinks about Bali Maharaj. How does Jarasandha's perception of identity evolve through the narrative, and what factors contributed to his change? How does Jarasandha? So he sees them as Brahman first, but then he realizes, but then again, following the Vedic culture, he goes for the fair combat. In what ways can the concept of divine intervention be interpreted in contemporary context? So let's read the. It suggests that we can find support and direction in our decision-making process through intuition, faith, wisdom we gather from experience and teaching, highlighting the importance of recognizing and embracing the limits. Yeah. So yeah, just following the process will take us there. Okay, this concludes today's class. I would stop here and open it for discussion.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.
I tried my best to add as much, Prabhuji, but the chapter had this just very limited context here, so we will do.
Yeah.
Sorry, please. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Wonderful session, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Ganesh. Thank you.
So, I have a quick question, Prabhu.
Sure.
I think you said like every jiva, when he's falling from Vaikuntha Loka, actually every jiva is a citizen of Vaikuntha Loka. Okay. And he's falling, you said like first birth is Brahma. So this is first time I heard, bro. Maybe I think you said it is also mentioned in Srila Prabhupada
Yeah,
purpose.
it is in one of the conversations Srila Prabhupada has with devotees. Now, this is always
No, conversation,
Ga-
not in purport.
yeah,
Okay.
it's not in the puppet, it's in the conversation, but it is authorized from Srila Prabhupada books and
Okay.
conversation.
So, two questions, Prabhu, here, actually. I know there is some discussion happened why we are falling down because the situation in Vaikuntha Loka is there is no such situation. Okay, it's supposed to be like a Suddha Sattvagun. So, what are the consequences or what are the situations faced by Jiva over there so that he want to be independent from Krishna? Okay, that is my first question, Prabhu. I know there is some discussion happened on this particular topic, but I would like to definitely hear from you and Charu Prabhu and Sharat Prabhu also on this topic. Second, Prabhu, if a Jiva is taken the birth as Brahma, Brahma supposed to have a good, very good knowledge on Vedas. Yeah. So even after understanding the Vedas, how that Jiva has further degraded. Okay, further degraded, right? A Jiva is becoming like a human, ordinary human, okay, or Shudra, or and then dog, pig, whatnot, bro, a mosquito. Okay, how that is possible? Okay, such a elevated Brahma and has a very good understanding on Vedas. Okay, is unimaginable, bro. This is at least in my very teeny brain. Okay, so much attached to the material things. It is unimaginable, Prabhu. So if you could throw some light on these 2 points, that would really help me in my sadhana, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Wonderful session.
Yes. So these
Hare
are very,
Krishna, Prabhuji.
very. Yeah,
before you
Radhavinath Prabhu is excited.
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
yes.
no. Before you go, I want to add little bit, and then Charu Prabhuji and Sharat Prabhuji, I want to
Yes.
also listen that. I asked the question almost 10, 12 years back to sannyasis, and this is a specific question. And I had almost 45-minute discussion with a couple of sannyasis sitting together, and I had a time. And this is what came out. This is a very crux. He says, Srila Prabhupada talks both ways. So one time it says that we are eternally here, and another time it says we have come from a spiritual
Yes.
world. So after discussion back and forth, how you become Brahma, Brahma can become ant. Because we had the story of, one story where Krishna, Rukmini's palace was watching the ant, right? There's a pastime. So Brahma can become degrade and can become ant. That's not a problem. But have we come from spiritual world, or are we here? This is the question. And at the end, I'm telling you 45 minutes, and they are great sannyasis. They are very big, here. And their answer was that don't try to understand what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said doesn't make a difference. Somehow or other, you are here. See how you go back. Then opening up the debate, really you have come from spiritual world. So that is the another thing I want to give a direction maybe to add, because we say if you think we have come from Vaikuntha Loka. Understand? Kam, Krodh, Mad, Moh, Matsar, all these are ingredients in material world only. Then how come some places are mentioned with Bahirmukha, like we turn our back against the Krishna in Vaikuntha? Why you to be glorified? Why not me? Right? That's what simple example is given in some of discussion, and then we fall down. So the Matsar, how come if those are material ingredient in the material world, then how come that quality is also existing there? And then once you understand that part, yes, we have envious of Krishna, then you can fall down. That part we can understand. But how come that enviousness comes in the very first place? because unless and Shuddha Sattva, right? Shuddha there, that means Kam, Krodh, Mad, Moh, Matsana, all the Shadrupas are gone there, zero, absolutely. Then how can crop up? Or is it just Leela of the Lord that he wants somebody to be brought into the material world so that he can, go and play with them? So just I want to add what Prabhuji is talking, and is I don't have answer. This is
Healing,
what I have.
Prabhu, we are suffering, Prabhu. We are not able to go out. We are suffering heavily. Okay. It's just a suffer, no? This is material world. Okay. And there is no end. Okay. It's becoming very challenging, actually. We know everything. Okay. We have to go out, but still not able to chant properly. Yeah. Not able to connect. We are hearing Bhagavatam. I am hearing Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Okay. But still, anarthas are not going out. So how? How do you go out? So first of all, why did we fall? Okay, if today a very important point, Prabhuji has brought it. We are such an elevated soul, that is Brahma. The how Brahma can be taken. Okay, I'll stop here. Okay, and then we'll be hearing from Prabhuji.
I just want to clarify one thing first. Sorry, my intention was not, this is a very, very sensitive topic, but let's discuss. The key point I wanted to make up is what Srila Prabhupada is highlighting is, don't doubt the power of the Lord, right? That is the point. Like when he says to that devotee, what came to my mind is, the devotee was confused. Is it really possible that all of us, so many Brahma, so many Brahmaloka? And what I'm highlighting is, look at the conviction and the authority of Lord of Srila Prabhupada. He says anything and everything is possible for the Lord. Okay. Then one more question, and I will touch my views on this, which is in line with what you said, Radhavina Prabhu, and then definitely need Charu Prabhu and Sar Prabhu to guide here. Then there is one more situation where some scientists, just to trick Srila Prabhupada, he asked, can the Lord make a stone which he cannot carry? A stone so heavy which he cannot carry. So you see the trick of the question? Can he make a stone which is so heavy? That means, can he create something which he himself cannot carry? So like the material people, they can think like that, and we are one of them again, so that we can corner and trick. But then again, this is the material realm, and spiritual realm is different. What was Srila Prabhupada answer in the conversation? He says, yes, the Lord will make that stone, right? So he's like, oh, so he cannot carry something which, and then he will carry it. So all duality is possible for the Lord. That's the point. Now coming to your specific point, whether we came from spiritual world or whether we are eternally here, as Radhavina Prabhu, you said, my understanding and final conclusion is same like what you mentioned, and Srila Prabhupada says, both are possible, right? How does a personality like Brahma come down to the level of Indra? Actually, we have seen in the Bhagavatam itself, right? We have seen a case where Indra is cursed and he falls down as a pig, if I'm not mistaken. And then Brahma and others, they go and they had to convince him to come back and become Indra. So we cannot underestimate the power of this Maya. The Maya of the Lord is so powerful, right? Even Narad Muni, who is a pure devotee, when he says that, okay, I want to see your Maya, he's shown that. We have seen that. There's another Rishi, right? In the 12th canto, we'll see, I want to see your Maya, and then he shows. So we cannot underestimate. And Markandeya. And then again, it was said by some of the devotees, our Brahma is a pure devotee, but that may not, and again, we are very fortunate to have that, but not necessarily that all the Brahmas are pure devotee of the Lord. It's an exalted position by an exalted soul, but again, it's a jiva occupying that position. It is not necessary that all the Brahmas are devotee. So everything and anything is possible. But let me stop. This is my understanding. Charu Prabhu, please throw some highlight. I know we have gone in a tangential discussion, but again, that's an important and interesting discussion for all of us.
Some of the many points already been covered. Radha Vinod Prabhuji, you covered everything. All I have to say is this. The scriptures describe Brahmaji is very, very intelligent personality. Remember, he is the engineer who created 8.4 million species of life forms and 14 planetary systems. How could he be so stupid, you know? So don't underestimate. Many times such elevated personalities for a Leela purpose, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead Shri Krishna, they do like that. Like in Brahma Vimohan Leela, that what we saw that it is you cannot equate with us like that, you know. He particularly was put in the bewilderment. Same as the example of Arjuna. Prabhupada mentions many times in Bhagavad Gita the example. How could an eternal associate of the Lord, Arjuna, could be bewildered on the battlefield? Again, that is all Leela, so that Bhagavad Gita could be given, you know. Now the question coming, Brahma, insect, whatever that what I heard you guys said, I never came across like that. But he is the one who created all these jivas, 8.4 million species of life forms. And the point also I heard that how come in the spiritual world lower species of life forms are there? See, for Krishna enjoyment, there are birds, bees, even in Goloka. But that doesn't mean that those birds and bees are same as in the material world. They are all liberated beings in the material world and the spiritual world. Okay, for Krishna pleasure. So you cannot compare that. Okay, those birds and bees. See, like Krishna when he comes in Varaha Avtara or Kurma Avtara and all this fish Avtara, he is not in that lower body forms. He's always remains supreme, even when he comes in those animal species. So that you cannot equate what we see in the material world, those animals and so on like that. So I want to add further, and I would let Sharath speak, but for what many of the points that you talked about, Prabhupada said that when the house is in the fire, your first job is not to figure out when, how the fire came. Your first job is to put out the fire. So don't ask questions for where we came from or all these things Prabhupada said. That is time immemorial. We have been here, okay? There is no history like that. That where from we came and all things. Right now, when we are here, how do we go back to spiritual world? There is the issue here, you know. So I won't take much time because a lot of these points have already been covered. But don't underestimate Brahmaji, you know, such elevated personalities, because that is an offense. Haribo. Sharath Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, actually everything has been covered on this point. There is nothing, but I firmly believe we never were there in the spiritual world, because in the spiritual world, if anybody goes, he won't come back. But he comes back on the desire of the will of the Supreme Lord for a specific purpose. But the all other points we have already covered. On this, the various points what we have covered, I just want to touch on certain points. Though they have been covered very, very nicely by the Sanjeev Prabhuji, but I'll just elaborate them. Now, the question is, after Jarasandha was killed, why Krishna and the two Pandavas, that is Arjuna and Bhima, they did not make a claim to the throne of Magadha? Now, the purpose of killing Jarasandha was to stop him from creating disturbance, to prosper, and to properly discharge the world peace. And he was a demoniac person, and a demon always creates disturbances, whereas a demigod always tries to keep peace in the world. The mission of Krishna is to give protection to the righteous persons and kill the demoniac people and establish a peaceful world. Therefore, Krishna immediately called for his son, that is Sadeva, and made him the king. Now, this story, why Jarasandha was made that way, it has been given, but I'll give what is given in the Mahabharata. Jarasandha's father was King Brihadratha. And Brihadratha, he married the twin daughters of the king of Kasi. Now, Brihadratha, he loved his two wives equally, but unfortunately, they had no son. So, once what happened, the sage named Chandrakausika, he arrived, he visited the kingdom of King Brihadratha. And when King Brihadratha, he gave him this problem, then he gave a fruit to the king as a boon. Then King Brihadratha, he divided the fruit equally between his two wives and gave it to them for consumption. Now soon both of the wives, they became pregnant and gave birth to two halves of the human body. But both did not breathe, and hence King Brihadratha and his wives accepted that the babies born were dead. And these two lifeless parts, they were so horrible to look at that the king ordered these to be thrown into the forest immediately. In the forest, these the two parts of the body, they were found by demoness Jara, and in the forest, and the demoness, she picked up the two halves, holding one in each hand. Then when the palms were joined, then the two parts, they joined instantly and became a living baby. And the baby was crying loudly, which startled Jara, and not having a heart to eat the live infant. Jara took the baby to the king, that is Brihadratha, and explained everything that had happened. And King Brihadratha was overjoyed to see his son alive and healthy. Now, this is all given in the Shanti Parva of Mahabharata. It is also given in the Shanti Parva that Jarasandha, he fought with Karna after the Swayamvara of Chitrangada's daughter Bhanumati. And Karna, he defeated Jarasandha after a tough fight. And to please Karna, Jarasandha gifted Karna to rule the land of Malini. When Lord Krishna here told Yudhishthira that Bhimasena is the right person, appropriate person to lead the Rajasuya Yajna. But Jarasandha will oppose this Yajna. That's why he had to be first killed, and that's why the whole thing happened. Then, since enough time is there, I'll touch upon certain other things also. Like here in one of the verses in this chapter, it is given that Harishchandra, Rantideva, Unchabriti, Mudgala, Sibi, Bali, and the legendary hunter, and the pigeon, and many others have attained the permanent by means of impermanent. I'll repeat again, attaining the permanent by means of impermanent. What is this? What does this mean? I'll give the explanation given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. This is the verse 21 of this chapter. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says that to pay off his debts to Vishwamitra, Harishchandra sold everything he had, including his wife and children. Yet, even after attaining the status of a Chandala, he did not get discouraged. Thus, he went to heaven together with all the inhabitants of Ayodhya. And after going without even water, or then the next story is after not having any food or water for 48 days, Rantideva, he obtained some food and water. But at that time, when some beggars they suddenly appeared, he gave it to them, and thereafter he died. And in this way, Rantideva attained Brahmaloka. Then in this verse it is given Mudgala. Mudgala followed the practice of gathering grains left behind the fields. This is known as Unchibriti, and which fall in the fields after the harvest. Yet still he was hospitable towards his uninvited guests, and even after his family had been suffering in poverty for 6 months. Thus he also attained Brahmaloka. Then regarding King Sibi, King Sibi attained heaven by giving his own flesh to a hawk in order to protect a pigeon who had taken shelter of him. And Bali Maharaj gained the Lord's personal association by giving him all his property to Bamandev when the Lord disguised himself as a dwarf Brahmana. Then regarding the pigeon and his mate gave their own flesh to a hunter as a show of hospitality, and thus they were taken to heaven in a celestial airplane. And rising to the mode of goodness, the hunter he understood their situation. He then became renounced, gave up hunting, and went off to perform severe austerities. And becoming freed from all sins, he was promoted to heaven after he burned to death in the forest fire. Thus, in all these cases, we have seen all these personalities, they attained enduring life on higher planetary system by sacrificing their temporary material bodies. Now, the next point is, as Vaishnavas, we are instructed to give charity. We spoke about charity in great detail. I will also cover this in little more detail because there is a lot of time. There is more than 1 hour even from now. Now, as Vaishnavas, we are asked to give charity, and this is given in the Bhagavad Gita that in whichever condition you are, you should give charity. Because this act of charity, it assists in our spiritual progress in various ways, especially for the householders or the grihasthas. Now, for the grihasthas or householder, the performance of sacrifices, distribution of charity, and the action according to prescribed duties, that is Varnashrama Dharma, they are especially recommended. It is given in the in one of the purports in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto also. And sometimes many of us they struggle with how and whom to give charity. But just as sincere devotees, they should be committed to eating only food offered to Krishna. They should be committed to regularly giving in charity some portion of their income. And in this way, a devotee can become example to others. Then I'll touch upon asking for charity in the ISKCON programs or ISKCON temples, about that and what benefit we will give. We should give charity for various things to the Supreme Lord. And if something is given to the Lord, there is no harm in that. Rather, your earning will be purified. Then what are the benefits of giving charity? Now, the giving in charity purifies the heart because it helps us to become detached from material things and cleanses the desire for fruitive results. And giving in charity purifies our finances and our wealth. And the charity we give is like a deposit in that bank, and the dividends being the purification of our hearts and the unexpected provision of our needs. And giving charity allows us to put our money where our heart is. If our heart is in becoming Krishna consciousness, then in supporting Sri Krishna Chaitanya's mission, in knowing that sincere practice of devotional service is good for the whole world. Now, what is the importance of giving charity, especially in ISKCON? It is actually known as a seva. We know that everything we give, we have been given by Lord Krishna only. We have not created anything after we have come into this material world. And when we make a donation, all we are doing it is giving back to what was already the Lord's. The donation helps in providing the means for various things in the temple to be taken up, including feeding the poor. And in Bhagavad Gita also 17 chapter 20th verse, it is said that charity given without expecting anything in return and at the right place and at the right time is considered pure. Now, charity helps various activities in the temples, in maintaining the temple, in education, in prasad distribution, like this. Then, why charity is essential? Because by giving charity, one will feel very happy and satisfied for doing a good job and will be blessed by the Supreme Lord. And by the mercy of Lord Krishna, we can achieve success in life and we can also be a part of saving cows and saving various poor people in this material world. And the material benefits of charity are it reduces greed and attachment. It brings peace of mind and satisfaction. It is an asset for the progress of the nation and including starvation, and it secures a respected place for the giver's name. And what are the spiritual benefits? It helps one progress in the path of bhakti devotional service. It connects to Krishna's mercy and it removes sinful karma and purifies the soul. As given in the Bhagavad Gita 3:13, it says the devotees partaking the offering given in charity are relieved from sins, whereas the selfish doers they always suffer. And charity is not just giving, but also offering it to the Supreme Lord, Lord Krishna. When we give for something higher purpose, for worshipping the Supreme Lord, it is not the money we give, but the love and devotion we show to the Supreme Lord. And that is very important. Charity connects us to the divine energy of the Supreme Lord. And when we do selfless giving, we learn to shed our ego and greed. And in the temples or in the various institutions, one can support the prasadam distribution, sustaining the temples, spreading spiritual knowledge, uplifting the society, the serving of the cows and abandoned animals. And here we should remember that charity helps in our spiritual growth. It is also given in the Bhagavad Gita 9:27 that whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we give, it should be as an offering to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, whatever we give to the Supreme Lord in charity, we should not publicize it. We should not tell this thing about it to others. But we should do it for the Supreme Lord, for His service only. And we should remember that charity is a virtue. It is strongly supported in the scriptures. Like I gave so many examples in the from the Bhagavad Gita also. And in the 17th chapter, when the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, charity given at the wrong time to unworthy people or without respect is considered impure. This is very, very important. It should be given to worthy people. Like you'll see in various places, the beggars, they make a line. They are sitting and we are taught we should give them something. What my opinion is, if we give them money, they may utilize the money in the wrong way. Like if somebody uses that money for buying, say, liquor or any other non-veg things, or uses in any wrong way, then that sin is accrued by the person who has given the money. That's why if somebody is hungry, we should give him food. If somebody does not have clothes, we should give him clothes rather than money. This is to be remembered. Now, then we discussed also about demigod worship. Well, here, please remember that there is nothing wrong in worshipping the demigod. We can worship the demigod, there is no problem in that. But the problem comes in what is the intention. If our intention, like the Braja Gopis, they uh, worshipped Katyayani, but for what purpose? To get the Supreme Lord Krishna. If that is the intention, there is nothing wrong in worshipping the Supreme Lord. Then we spoke about one very important point, recognition and identity. Now here, please remember that Lord Krishna and the two Pandavas, they went to Jarasandha disguised. Now, when we approach the Supreme Lord, we should not use this principle. If we use anything in disguise, that will not be liked by the Supreme Lord. The example is given in Ramayana. When Hanuman, he went for the first time in front of Lord Rama and Lakshmana, that was not liked by Lord Rama, because Hanuman had disguised himself as a Brahmana. That's why he did not talk to him. All the talking was done by Hanuman to Lakshmana only. And at the end, the remark given by Lord Rama was, he told Lakshmana that this person seems to be very, very qualified. He knows all the four Vedas, and whatever he has said so far, it does not have a grammatical mistake. That means he is most intelligent and most knowledgeable. And thereafter, when Hanuman, he changed himself to the monkey form, then only the Lord Rama interacted with him. That's why we should not use this principle while while we interact with the Supreme Lord or his expansions. This is all, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Radha Vinod Prabhuji,
Yeah,
was looking for you last week also.
yeah.
I
I have
yesterday
one.
also. That's
Yeah,
okay, that's
Prabhuji,
okay. But I just want
I
to
have-
confirm that in the 11th canto, we have assigned you one class, story of Pingala, that is January 25 next year, no, far in advance. I just want to make sure that, if you're not unable to do or whatever, please.
I will do.
consult-
No, Prabhuji. I will do
No.
it. No worry. I'll do that.
Yeah, okay then.
Yeah.
But
So
consult with Sharad Prabhu, right? Because
okay, I'll do it.
we are preparing the final list. So we should accept, right? You'll do it, right?
Yeah, I will do. Yeah. So I have one question. We
Okay.
talked about this one. So we have some time. So I have this one. My daughter was studying in the University of Toronto, and she had a subject Eastern and Western religion. And she had a head of department, Sri Lankan person. And he always hated Krishna. He says he's the biggest cheater. Okay, he cheated and won the war, win the war only by cheating. This is the head of department of the university telling to all the students. Now, one way we say, whatever the great people do, the common person follows. Right? That is the standard, is the teaching of Krishna also. But at the same time, he uses a foul means to, achieve his that. Philosophically, we talk about higher and lower, but for the common people, they don't get this one. Like in this case, coming as a Brahmana, understand the logic that had he gone with the war, then energy would have lost, whatever is there. So wanted to minimize killing the Karnas, killing the Bhishma Pitama, right? By foul means, right? It was not a dharmic means, it was killed. So it is there in the mind of many people that Krishna did not use the dharma or the dharmic there, rather he cheated and killed the people, and that is how he won the war. How to tell those people, devotees, we understand, we have the philosophy, how to convince them that this is not
what is the last verse in Bhagavad Gita? Quote that verse. The ultimate authority is Bhagavad Gita. What does Sanjay says? That whatever Krishna does, that is the ultimate religion.
Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Sri Vijaya Bhuti Dhruva Nidhimati Mama.
So that means, Prabhuji, that means what happens, this is what the common, right? Lot of people I come across and they say that Krishna comes to establish the religion. Yes, he can tweak, he can do anything, no problem, but he can do it. But he's to set an example. What kind of example when you grossly cheat the people and then you say that I have come to reestablish dharma? So how to justify that anger? No, I don't have answer for that.
But there's a higher purpose, higher reason. He wanted to establish Yudhishthira Maharaj as the king, because if Duryodhana had become a king, things would have been terrible, So to achieve a higher reason, sometimes you have to resort this kind of thing, and that means we should not copy him, okay? Copy the Lord. Only those higher personalities, they can do that. Prabhupada said many times, principles remain same, but the details, they are left to senior devotees, and they can change things like that, So we cannot question Krishna, and certain personalities who do that. I came across such a personality in my own academic study also, when I was a student at the University of California. That's the reason I left. Just after one semester, I left that place, because the professor was speaking so much nonsense. And remember, that person was actually, well, of course, he was the white guy, but he was a ISKCON devotee. And he was saying so lousy things about a Supreme Lord. And I left that, because Shastra says, when there's somebody is blaspheming the Supreme Lord or his devotees, if you cannot do, at least leave that place. So I left that place, So some people, the academic professors there, they do certain things in a way that is not really, should not be done, So and there is no, it's a waste of time to argue with them, to give arguments and things like that. They are not going to change that. They're not going to change that.
So Prabhuji, on that again, coming back to that, as long the aim or the intention is clear, religious, so the foul means can be. I'm just trying to recode that, right? So
we should not say
okay.
Foul means. Whatever Krishna does, you cannot say this is foul things.
Okay. Yes.
Remember,
but the other people think,
Karna was his will was stuck in the mud. Remember, at the very critical time in the war, and then Krishna says to Arjuna, "Now, is the time you should kill him." And Arjuna was very hesitant, right? But Krishna ordered him. Same thing happened to Yudhishthira Maharaj. He never spoke lie, right? But that day, Krishna told him, declare Narova Kunjarva,
Ashwatthama.
right?
Yeah.
Narova Kunjarva. Kunjara means the hathi, the elephant, whose name was also turned out to be Ashwatthama. So it was a white lie, actually, Nevertheless, when Krishna says something, you have to follow. But on our own, we should not copy certain things. That's what the Acharya says, Sharath Prabhuji can add something more about it.
Prabhuji, there is another thing, whatever we have said, that is totally correct. But when you study the art of warfare, the rules of warfare, like somebody is firing at me, he is not doing anything wrong, and if I fire at him, that is wrong, that is violence. That cannot be.
That's what they said, that everything's fair, love and war, right?
and this deception is used in warfare. like you deceive the enemy and attack him somewhere, go somewhere else. Like this, these are the normal common things in warfare. like all those people who were killed with, some people say unjustly, like Drona, Bhishma, Karna, like this, and many others, Jayadratha, many others. That is how you fight a war. And what about the other party? They killed Abhimanyu. They killed so many people, so many others very unjustly. That had to be taken care of. That's why Krishna's party or Yudhishthira's party, they were not wrong under any circumstances. They were following all the rules and regulations of warfare. Warfare, it is not a straight thing. It is always the deception is there. In deception means what? There have to be untruth. Like nowadays, if you see in that recent the conflict between India and Pakistan, what Pakistan did, there were so many things came out in the media about the war which were not correct. Actually, that is what is the correct and what is warfare. We also do much more things which are not understood. That's why, in addition to all things which have been said, the Pandavas, they followed the rules of warfare, and what they did were absolutely correct.
Rules were broken on both sides, actually, both sides.
Yes.
Okay, this is spoken by Colonel in the military, Indian Army, right? So he knows what the warfare is all about.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
We teach all the things in our to our officers in the very higher studies, and I have been instructors in those institutions also. And these are very common things, and they are practiced even today.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
प्रभु जी दूसरा भी एक पॉइंट मुझे बहुत अच्छा मन में आया है, बता सकते हो प्रभु जी?
Yes, yes.
प्रभु जी, अगर कृष्णा को जानना है तो हमें थ्रू गुरु परंपरा जाना पड़ेगा, फिर हमें साधना अच्छी से करनी पड़ेगी. अदरवाइज कृष्णा स्वयं कहते, श्रील प्रभुपाद ने भी बहुत बार बताया कि हम ऐसे कृष्ण को जान नहीं सकते हैं. मतलब अगर कॉमन पर्सन को कुछ भी बताना है तो मगर वो लेवल है ही नहीं उनका, अगर कुछ साधना भी नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है, तो वो समझ ही नहीं पाएंगे, क्योंकि कृष्णा. हाँ प्रभु जी बोले.
Yes, yes. But with our efforts, with our service, with our bhajan kriya, if we think we will be able to satisfy Krishna, then we are totally mistaken. He will be satisfied if he is very, very liberally, he blesses us. Everything depends on his mercy. Like you
surrender
surrender, and ultimately his mercy. And regarding following the Guru Parampara, it is a must, it is 100%. You have to accept a Guru, go through the Guru, because the Guru is the representative of the Supreme Lord. whatever is told by the Guru, that one should take as the words of the Supreme Lord. And if somebody thinks, I'll just chant the names of Krishna, I'll do all the things what is prescribed, but I will not follow that path, that I will not accept a guru, then he will not be successful. He will be benefited, there is no doubt about it, but he will not be successful in his life. That's why following this Guru Parampara, this is a must under all circumstances. And at the end, the Lord will be merciful and he will mercifully accept us. Then the thing will be over. Otherwise, not. Whatever we may do, that is not enough to satisfy the Lord. And there is a hierarchy also, like approaching Krishna, as we have seen earlier, that is very, very difficult. Approach through Radharani. Now, how do you approach through Radharani? You have to go through Lalita Vishakha. Like this, you have to go through the parampara from the very beginning. But the very first person in the parampara is your own Guru Maharaj. Go through him, things will be all right. And if he blesses, things will happen. Like you would have seen many examples how the devotee, pure devotee, he is much more powerful than the Supreme Lord. He can do anything and everything by his blessings. And if the Guru blesses, then you will see the Lord Krishna or Radha Krishna immediately. There is no doubt about it. But we have to reach that level, because he is the representative of the Supreme Lord and he is guiding him, and we should follow him.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
The people who says that Krishna is cheater, we can we have so many examples to tell them. In the case of Jarasandha, we can even in case of Jarasandha we can tell that Jarasandha को मारा उन्होंने भीमा को बताया कि in this way you defeat him. लेकिन but ये करने के लिए क्या जो इन्होंने जो किया उसका पर्पस मेन पर्पस क्या 21,000 किंग को सेव किया कृष्णा ने उनकी लाइफ बचाई तो ऐसे कृष्णा हमेशा कुछ अच्छा करने के लिए बहुत अच्छा करने के लिए कहीं ऐसा करते हैं कि जो कॉमन पीपल जैसे हमारे जैसे को लगता है कि कृष्णा ने चीट किया इधर और इन केस ऑफ जैसे 16,108 रानियों को उन्होंने वो उनको अपना रानी बनाया तो वो सोचते हैं कि जैसे कॉमन पीपल वो मैरी करते हैं और वो बनाते हैं वाइफ तो ऐसे ही क्योंकि वो समझते नहीं उनकी लीला को कि इन्होंने जो किया ये क्या स्पिरिचुअलिज्म में वो नहीं इतना पहुंच पाते That's why उनको लगता है कि ये Krishna is teacher. So there are so many examples you can give.
We have to understand, like Krishna married 16,100 queens. It is not that he wanted to marry. He never wanted to marry. But his devotees, they wanted him as husband. That's why he agreed. It is not that he wanted to marry and that's why it happened like this. You see, in each and every case, it has happened like this. And Krishna is never a cheater. If somebody is saying that he has not understood the whole thing in the correct perspective. Krishna is always right. He can never be wrong.
ऐसा करके 16,000 रानियों की लाइफ बचाई है अदरवाइज तो उन्होंने अपने आप को खत्म कर देना था तो ये लोग समझते नहीं
No. Why did 16,100 princesses they were kept as prisoners? That was because Banasura he knew that if he married 16,100 princesses, at the same time, like what Krishna did, then he will be as powerful as Lord Vishnu. This was told to him by Narad Muni. So he had this intention. His intention was not to kill them.
Yeah, Prabhuji, on that.
Jarasandha.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, so on that, Prabhuji, I recently sent you note the Lalit Madhav, that drama, right? One place I noticed that Narakasura, right? He kidnaps not only the princess, but it is a mention there with the gopis from Vrindavan. And then next question of that, why he lied. I sent you that. I have to go back and see that. It's the Lalit Madhav drama. That is a drama that I read few weeks back on that. So these were the gopis, and they wanted to go to the Dwarka, and he lied there, and he gives the reason, because this is what he want to confuse the people. I can send that. I sent you Sharad Prabhuji, right? Week back or 2 weeks back.
Yes,
Lalit Madhav.
Lalit Madhava and Vidagdha Madhava. Vidagdha Madhava is regarding Vrindavana episode, and Lalita Madhava is the Dwarka episode.
So there I saw that particular. I took a screenshot and sent you. That is what is a mention.
No, that is a little different story.
Okay.
That is a little different story.
Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji, now I think we are stretching now. I think let's then conclude the class earlier. Unless some important topics you want to discuss.
So next week onwards, the classes, series of classes by Nityasakhi Mataji. She is not here.
Okay. So, are we going to conclude the class now?
Yes, Prabhuji. Nrsimha prayers, Santa Mataji or anybody? Raksha Mataji?
I do, Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. प्रहलाद लाद दाहिने हिरण्यकाशी पूर्वक्ष वक्षः शीलाटङ्कालकालाय इतो नरसिंहा परतो नरसिंहा इतो नरसिंहा परतो नरसिंहा यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहा बहिर्नरसिंहा हृदये नरसिंहा नरसिंहादिं शरणं प्रपदे तव कर कमलवरेणकाम् अद्भुतशृङ्गं दलिता हिरण्यकशिपुतनुभृङ्गम् केशवधृता नरहरिरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव कर कमलवरेणकम् अद्भुतशृङ्गम् दलिता हिरण्यकशिपुतनुभृङ्गम् केशवधृता नरहरिरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव कर कमलवरेणकम् अद्भुतशृङ्गम् दलिता हिरण्यकशिपुतनुभृङ्गम् केशवधृता नरहरिरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय नरसिंहदेव
Very good, Benji.
थैंक यू भाई जी
बहुत अच्छा गया आपने, बहुत अच्छा किया। हरे कृष्णा, थैंक यू सो मच। हरि बोल।
हरे कृष्णा भाई।
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam to all devotees. Thank you,
Samita Vandana, thank you
Hari
so
Mataji.
much.
All
Hare
devotees.
Krishna, Dandavat pranam to all devotees. Dandavat
Most
pranam.
welcome, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.